Hello, your instructor has asked me to talk to you a little bit about your career exploration project for communications. So over the course of the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about different resources you might use to help you with your project. The first of these resources is called ONET Online, and basically ONET Online, which is available at www.onetonline.org. Basically, ONET is a resource that is put together through the American Job Center and is powered by statistics and data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is part of the Department of Labor for the federal government. And ONET Online is a very powerful resource in that it can help you do a lot of really powerful career research. So what you can do with this is you can type in pretty much any career that you want to take a look at. So if you want to look at public relations, you can do that. And what will happen is they'll bring up all the different jobs that are related to public relations. What you'll find with public relations jobs, or any jobs you look at, is every one of these is going to be a link, and you can click on any one of these links to find out more information. Every one of these little icons across the top here is a separate link, and it will take you to different parts of the information about that position. Some key areas you're going to want to take a look at are not only going to be the tasks that they do, the tools and technology that are used, and the knowledge and skills and abilities that are part of the job. Obviously, those are very important for your project. But you should also be taking a look at the type of education level that's needed. So you'll see that of the people who are working in public relations, about 78% are currently holding bachelor's degrees, about 8% hold master's degrees, and about 7 with associate's degrees. Now, keep in mind that these are people who are currently in the field. So these individuals that have associate's degrees, they very well could be individuals who previously had gotten in there and had worked in the field for a while. So my guess would be that probably most of the people who are entering the field today have to have a bachelor's degree in some area of communications. So education can be really helpful to you. And if you scroll down, or if you want to click back to the top and go to another area, some things that are also important to you and maybe valuable to help you in looking at ONET Online would be the wages and employment section. Basically what this will give you is going to be the average wages salary for the position that you're looking at, both on a national level, and you can also drill down onto the state level. And what it'll give for you, so let's just say you want to look at, well, you have friends in Alabama, you think you might move there. So you can do a comparison then between the national average for wages and then what the average is for Alabama. So you can see that the national average in blue is going to be higher, and this is going to give you sort of the low entry fee, the median or mid-career salary, as well as the higher earners salary, so probably people who've been in that career for the longest time. So it's important that you recognize, though, that the low end tends to be areas where either it's going to be underdeveloped or it's not going to be as high a paying job because it's an area of the country that maybe has a lower consumer index, a lower standard of living, or it's going to be on the low end because it's going to be more of the entry level type position. So overall, you're going to find that ONET is a really powerful tool. You can also look at projected job openings. So nationwide, this position is supposed to grow between 8 and 15%. They're going to be about 22,000 job openings, and you can even drill down again and say, well, okay, what does this mean in terms of states? Because you'll find that there are going to be very different types of openings per state. So, for example, the national average for public relations is about 13% job growth, about 2,000 jobs over the next 10 years or so. Alabama is slightly less than that, 11% growth, but that really only means about 20 jobs per year over the next 10 years. So really quite important that you pay attention to that because percentages can be a little bit misleading. Okay. It's also important that you recognize too that there are going to be differences from one state to the next. So for example, one thing that I've seen is that a lot of times something like education, for example, if you look at Pennsylvania, elementary education is only supposed to grow about 3% over the next 10 years. So that's not a whole lot of growth, and that means fewer job opportunities. But if you're willing to relocate, you'll find that there are other states that have better opportunities. So if someone wants to go in elementary education and is willing to go to like South Carolina or North Carolina, they can find double-digit job growth, 15, 20% sometimes. So it just gives you some sense about where the jobs are and what you can do. So on the whole, I think that you'll find that ONET Online is a really powerful resource, and it's something that you should definitely take advantage of. Remember, it's available at www.onetonline.org, and there's a lot of information here. I've only kind of shown you the tip of the iceberg, but excellent information for background details and ideas about your project and about the career you're researching. Another resource you might use is called the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and you'll find that this is available at the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, www.bls.gov/OOH for Occupational Outlook Handbook. And what you'll find when you go to this page is that it's going to be very similar to the ONET. It's a little bit more user-friendly in terms of the way it looks, but I will tell you that the depth of information isn't quite as solid as the ONET Online. So again, we can look in here, public relations, and it's going to bring up related careers. You can click on any one of those, and you'll find that there's, just like an ONET Online, you'll find that there's a lot of information. There's a summary page that gives all the background information about the job, the average pay. Keep in mind, average is going to be someone who's mid-career, not entry level. The type of degree that's typically needed to get into it, how many jobs there were of that position in 2012, the expected job growth, and then how many jobs there are supposed to be nationwide between now and 2022. There are tabs here about what they do, so it kind of gives you background information, the types of environments they work in. So do they work in advertising, do they work in government, in education? There's a whole tab on how to become one. There's a tab relating to the pay, a tab relating to the job outlook, and then there's always a page that relates to similar occupations. So for example, advertising, promotions and marketing managers, editors, those are similar positions to public relations specialists. And then there's always a page that has some more information that would have links. So things like the Public Relations Society of America, all really helpful things. So Occupational Outlook Handbook is another general resource like ONET Online, but again, even though it looks a little nicer, it doesn't have quite the same depth of information. Generally speaking, you'll find the same information between the two, but if you had to pick just one, ONET would be the place to go because it has more depth. A third resource you might consider taking a look at is the web page for the York County Economic Alliance, which is available at www.ycea-pa.org. And what this is really is going to be some nice overview for positions and roles and categories of jobs that exist in York County. And what I would recommend that you do here is to take some time to look through this website, check out information about the workforce, and the community economic profile. And what you can find in there are going to be some information about the employment and income types of details that are relevant for York County. So it'll give you things relating to unemployment rate, the type of labor force that we have. So in January of 2014, about a year ago, we had 225,000 people that were in the workforce, which is just a small portion of what's in Pennsylvania and the United States. And it gives you some information about unemployment rates and things like that. What's more important for you perhaps though is the second page, which talks a little bit about some industry trends. So for example, it looks at categories of jobs, and then how many types of companies there were that were doing that in 2012, how many there were in 2011, and then how many employees there were in 2012 versus 2011. So it's going to take a look at different categories of positions and what type of job growth there was or job loss. And then the third page will give you a little bit about the median income for this area, as well as the cost of living comparing York to some other areas of the country. So this just kind of gives you some nice overview in regards to what's happening out there. Another website you might find interesting and may be helpful for some background information about different types of jobs will be PA WorkStats, and that's going to be something that you can find through the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry, and in particular their high priority occupations list. So you could just Google PA WorkStats high priority occupations and it would help you to find this page. Basically though, what's going to be important here are that you get to the regional lists, and what happens with these regional lists is that you'll be able to take a look at, and it's an Excel file, you'll be able to take a look at the different workforce investment areas. So there's Chester County, Central. We live in South Central, so what you would need to do is to find the SC, the South Central Pennsylvania, And what it'll do here are list all the different careers that are in high demand, the occupation they're in, the education attainment level, the average wage, and the annual number of openings. So, for example, if you were interested in carpentry in South Central PA, that's generally a long-term on-the-job training. The average salary for a carpenter is $40,000, and each year there are about 177 of them in the South Central Pennsylvania region. So South Central Pennsylvania is like 7-county region, including York, Adams, Lancaster, Dauphin County, Cumberland County. So they're all going to fall on that. So this will be some more regionalized data that will be more specific than the things you find on ONET or Occupational Outlook Handbook. The final two websites that I want to talk to you about are ways that you can try to do some more research and information gathering, particularly by trying to connect with people. And obviously, this is excellent not only for this assignment, but it's also important for your ability to network for the future. So one thing you might consider is York Young Professionals. It's obviously a group that's devoted to helping young professionals develop. You'd be able to meet like-minded individuals. You can participate as a student. You do not have to be someone who is in the workforce just yet, but it can be a gateway to a lot of different things. Particularly important here would be taking a look at their events calendar, maybe going to one of their meetups or professional meetings, just trying to get involved and trying to find a way that you can start to connect and network with some people that maybe can help you take the next step. The final resource I'd like to talk to you about then is LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a type of social networking product that you can use for professionals. And LinkedIn is going to be a very helpful resource for a couple reasons. First of all, I would encourage all of you to make your own profile. Your own profile will sort of be like an online resume for you. So it'll include information about what job you have currently, what jobs you've had in the past, the education, your skills. It's a way for you to sort of put yourself out there. But the other way it can be beneficial to you is in regards to networking. And in this project in particular, you can do a search to try to find out about what type of position you're trying to research and how individuals who currently work in that role have gotten there. So what you would do up here in the top is do a search, and I would recommend that you do an advanced search. And what you're going to want to do is narrow it down to people, and then if you just say, well, okay, I'm looking for public relations, what will happen is then individuals that you might be connected to, or maybe that you're not connected to, that are going to work in public relations, you can take a look at what they've done. So I can click on this individual and find out information about what she does and how she got to where she is. Okay, so for example, I can look at her current role, or I can look at the role of anybody else. So here's someone else who works in public relations, and I can look here and say, okay, well, she's a director of public relations and marketing. At one time, she was a contributor to this Lincoln publication. She was a manager of public relations at one point. She was a marketing and media manager. She was a program director, a co-anchor, an area manager. So we can look at how someone got to where they are. And I think for someone like you who's just starting to explore a career in this new area, it can be really, really helpful for you. So my recommendation would be that you take a look at these individuals, you do some research on LinkedIn, and you find out whatever you can in regards to what makes them who they are and where they've gotten to where they are, because that's going to be really helpful. As a career service person, one of the things that I always found really helpful for students was just kind of finding out how people got to where they are, because the path that they take is often very, very interesting. So these are some resources that you can take a look at. LinkedIn is certainly the final among them. And if there's anything that I can do, I hope that you'll ask to reach out through your teacher, your instructor, and I'll be glad to help you in any way that I can. Good luck with your project, and I hope it goes well.